Yay. So I found this chapter in the book the Neville Goddard book, which I believe is called the Neville Collection. And it's in the book. The Neville Collection is a collection of his 10 books. And this is in the book called Your Faith is Your Fortune. It is a series, that particular book is a series of stories out of the Bible that he then translates into New Thought-ish vocabulary. So I'm going to read you the 2.5 pages that this chapter is. They're big, long chapters. It's double spaced. 2.5 pages, double spaced. So it's not that big. And then we can talk about it. The first is a quote from John 21, chapter 21, verse 3. They went forth and entered into a ship, and that night they caught nothing. And the second is a quote from same chapter, John 21, verse 6. And he said unto them, cast the net on the right side of the ship, and ye shall find. They cast therefore, and now they were not able to draw it for the multitude of fishes. Goddard goes on to say, it is recorded that the disciples fished all night and caught nothing. Then Jesus appeared on the scene and told them to cast their nets again, but this time to cast them on the right side. Peter obeyed the voice of Jesus and cast his nets once more into the waters, where but a moment before the water was completely empty of fish. The nets almost broke with the number of the resulting catch. Man, fishing all night, all through the night of human ignorance, attempts to realize his desires through effort and struggle, only to find in the end that his search is fruitless. When man discovers his awareness of being to be Christ Jesus, he will obey its voice and let it direct his fishing. He will cast his hook on the right side. He will apply the law in the right manner and will seek in consciousness for the thing he desired. Finding it there, he will know that it will be multiplied in the world of men. Those who have had the pleasure of fishing know what a thrill it is to feel the fish upon the hook. The bite of the fish is followed by the play of the fish. This play, in turn, is followed by the landing of the fish. Something similar takes place in the consciousness of man as he fishes for the manifestations of life. Fishermen know that if they want to catch big fish, they must fish in deep waters. If you would catch a large measure of life, you must leave behind you the shallow waters with its many reefs and barriers and launch out into the deep blue waters where the big ones play. To catch the large manifestations of life, you must enter into deeper and freer states of consciousness. Only in these depths do the big expressions of life live. Here is a simple formula for successful fishing. First, decide what it is you want to express or possess. This is essential. You must definitely know what you want out of life before you can fish for it. You must definitely know what you want out of life before you can fish for it. After your decision is made, turn from the world of sense, moving your attention from the problem, and place it on just being. By quietly repeating, but with feeling, I am. I am. As your attention is removed from the world around you and placed on the I am, so that you are lost in the feeling of simply being, you will find yourself slipping the anchor that tied you to the shallows of your problem, and effortlessly you will find yourself moving out into the deep. The sensation which accompanies this act is one of expansion. You will feel yourself rise and expand as though you were actually growing. Do not be afraid of this floating, growing experience, for you are not going to die to anything but your limitations. However, your limitations are going to die as you move away from them, for they live only in your consciousness. In this deep or expanded consciousness, you will feel yourself to be a mighty, pulsating power, as deep and as rhythmical as the ocean. This expanded feeling is the signal that you are now in the deep blue waters where the big fish swim. Suppose the fish that you decided to catch were health and freedom. You begin to fish in this formless, pulsating depth of yourself for these qualities or states of consciousness by feeling, I am healthy. I am free. You continue claiming and feeling yourself to be healthy and free until the conviction that you are so possesses you. As the conviction is born within you, so that all doubts pass away and you know and feel that you are free from the limitations of the past, you will know that you have hooked these fish. The joy which courses through your entire being on feeling that you are that which you desired is to be equal to the thrill of the fisherman as he hooks his fish. Now comes the play of the fish. This is accomplished by returning to the world of the senses. As you open your eyes on the world around you, the conviction and the consciousness that you are healthy and free should be so established within you that your whole being thrills in anticipation. Then, as you walk through the necessary interval of time that it will take the things felt to embody themselves, you will feel a secret thrill in knowing that in a little while, that which no man sees, but that which you feel and know that you are, will be landed. In a moment, when you think not, while you faithfully walk on in this consciousness, you will begin to express and possess that which you are conscious of being and possessing, experiencing with the fisherman the joy of landing the big one. Now, go and fish for the manifestations of life by casting your nets in the right side. Now, isn't that an interesting little story?
Mm-hmm.
Has he taken those 3 sentences or 4 sentences from the book of John and turns this into a whole long thing about, if we fish on the right side, that if we are doing this, if we are in alignment with God, then it manifests. And sometimes it manifests not quite so instantly. So we know that we can kind of sort of smirk at the non-appearance of whatever it is. It's like, okay, well, I know that the good is coming. I know it. I know it. It's not here yet, but I know it. It's coming. As we're landing the fish, or as we're playing the fish, playing the thing. I love the idea of going into the space and deeper into the I am. That's creating that oneness article, or that oneness piece with it, as we're getting deeper and deeper into the knowing of who we are. Then as we feel that, then we can move then into the part that we're actually trying to manifest, the I am healthy, or I am. I don't remember what the other one was. Free. I am free. Go ahead.
I had to unmute myself. I think that phrase that Jesus says is to, fish from the right side of the boat
Right.
is such a PowerPoint and a powerful marker.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. It's a loaded sentence because there's so much going on that metaphorically, and even the vibration, the meaning of the words and stuff, to be on the right side of things and not the wrong side of things. The right side of the boat, not the wrong side of the boat. But it, left, right, port. What are all this? What are those formal nautical words?
Starboard
boats
and
as well.
Port.
Yeah, but it's a loaded sentence because he's really telling them that they're not awake and looking at the right side of life, and they keep trying to pull from the wrong side of life that's empty,
Mm-hmm.
instead of pulling from the right side of life that is abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you're looking for. So to the reader, it's such a powerful sentence that is not just for fishing, it's for every moment.
Right.
I think.
Right. I agree. If we're in that place of connection, it's right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we're wandering around out here in the desert, going, okay, where in this desert are those fish?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So,
Great. Okay.
cool.
What else does Neville have to say? I love his stuff.
Okay, well, that's all he had to say on fishing. But I just thought it was an interesting little piece that if we just take the time to stop where we are and take a breath and go to that place of I am, and continue in the place of I am, continue saying I am, and I am, and I am, and I am, and go into it deeper, then we will lose awareness of where we are. We're so in tune with the oneness that we lose our physical space. And in that place, then we can say, I am healthy, I am free, I am healthy, I am free. And keep saying that until we absolutely feel like that's it. I am healthy. I am free.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that one up. There was so much in that little bit that you read that becomes a mantra for meditation, but for any time that you feel lost almost.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Braden did a whole book and a whole thing about I am that I am, and adding that one word in the center of it. And where does the comma go in that sentence? I am that I am. Where would you put the comma in that for the most profound effect of that?
Mm-hmm.
But the way that's expressed right there, I am is so simple and pure in itself. Mm-hmm. That as a mantra takes you right into, and I have that thing that I've said before, that one mantra that I use a lot. That's I am the light. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. You end it with I am, and repeating it 3 times, and then it's I am that I am. But that, and anytime I see I am in print, it's always capitalized. Those 3 letters, I and A and M, are always capitalized.
Mm-hmm. And they are here.
Yeah. So that's powerful too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of the pieces that to me makes sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff and some of it is harder to relate to than others, but this seemed like a nice short little piece that made sense to me. So
yeah,
I've been looking for a new mantra. I actually learned how to meditate via TM.
Mm-hmm.
I was taught by a TM master, and I was given a mantra. do you know that they do that? They give you a mantra that you're never supposed to tell anyone or say out loud. It's in Sanskrit, and so you don't know the meaning of it or anything, and it might not have a meaning.
Mhm.
So I've been looking for a mantra, and I've been toying with I am one with God. I think that's a mantra I've been toying with, but I like the I am better. It's just more powerful and simple. But this reminds me somewhat of the visioning. Decide what you want before you fish. The visioning process, and catching the vision as you're in a really meditative state.
Mhm.
And so it just made me think of visioning of what you want, and then you're likely to get it.
Okay, that's more visualizing. What you,
Visioning is different from visualizing.
I know, but when you're visualizing what you want, that's more what this is. Visioning is more when you open your mind and let spirit give you the pictures.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So when I'm in the place
Yeah.
of deciding what it is I want, like health, then that's more visualization.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. But I love that analogy of fishing.
Yeah,
That's one that I'll remember for sure.
I like the idea of when you go deep down, then you're hooked.
Yeah. And it's like, well, what am I fishing for today?
Right. And sometimes what we're fishing for may not show up right away. So we can fish, we can go out and fish again.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I like the analogy because I grew up fishing out, back east on the river and on the bay. And so depending on what you were fishing for, that made a difference into, as what you took with you, so that you were specific. When we fished for trout or the little sunfish, it might have been the little worms or sometimes or shrimp when we went for bigger fish. When I fly fished, that was a whole different deal. You didn't even use anything alive. You used the little feathers and things that you bought, so fishing itself was so specific. And so this is too, know what you're fishing for and go into that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
It does.
I love where he talks about going into the deeper water and playing the bigger game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's another good thing to visualize, going into the deeper water.
Yep. And I like the way he calls the shallow waters. They're the shallow waters with its reefs and barriers, which could be anything that's in your way.
Yeah.
Right.
And to catch bigger manifestations, then you have to go deeper into deeper, freer states of consciousness.
Yes. Oh boy, how true that is. Yeah. I have that book. I bought the book and it's in my Kindle. And then I kind of got overtaken by the Joel Goldsmith information. And then I didn't go back to the Goddard book because I bought that collection.
Yeah. Well, and, I bought the Dorothy Danon was when we were talking, had the book number 10, which was, I think, The Law and the Promise that I gave everybody for Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I read it when she said she had it. I said, well, let me check. And I had it too. So I read it as she was reading it. We didn't do much talking about it, but I found it to be fascinating. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given it away. But I had the whole collection and it was book number 10. So then I had started with book number 1, which is really short. It's like 10 or 15 pages, 25 pages.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the second book is longer. And then this, I think, is the third book. And I'm almost through with it. The next chapter is on, or the next one I have to read is on the 23rd Psalm.
Oh.
Yeah. And some of them have been absolutely fascinating. The chapter on circumcision. Okay. Yep. Okay. Put a spin on that. And it's like, where I'm not remembering, because he's not translating circumcision as the surgery that we do on men's body parts.
I'm sure.
Doing something else with it. But it's kind of an interesting piece. With that, I don't think I would want to talk about that from the pulpit. But a couple of these have been really fascinating to pick up and use bits and pieces. I used the one of these in my talk in Tulsa that I did last weekend, but I don't remember what it was I was talking about.
Oh, you talked about the book of Daniel and the
There you go.
Daniel and the lions.
Daniel and the Lion's Den. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the one that really struck with me, that whole story.
Mm-hmm. It was fascinating to me too.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are. I mean, I've heard some of these stories over and over and over again. I will admit, though, I didn't pick up on circumcision. Just saying.
At the church in Salt Lake, and I don't know what year this was. I think it might have been during the time we were between ministers, and they were just having a lot of guest speakers, and they had a rabbi come in and speak, and it was a good talk. But then all of a sudden, he took this talk into the meaning of not only the kind of, like something like circumcision, but then there was something about the female body and the female parts. And were you there for that, Catherine?
No, I wasn't.
And everybody was like, oh my goodness, what's he saying? But yeah, there was such a from that Jewish perspective, such an importance on the anatomy in his discussion and what it meant through the life processes. And actually, it was like, if we could have sat there and really kind of taken it in, I'm sure it would have been quite powerful. But I think most people from our side were quite shocked by it. So I'm going to probably tonight, I may tonight go pull up my book and read what that was when he's talking in Neville Goddard's thing. That's interesting.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, I'm going to read this because it's next, but
oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah.
Going back to the beginning of your reading,
Mm-hmm.
I think that the comparison of the fishermen fishing all night
Mm-hmm.
as compared to when they're connected and listening and focused and directed by Jesus, how can it get better than that? Then they all of a sudden have more fish than they can handle. And that just reminds me of my personal life, that there's times I've fished all night, and I've fished way more than all night, fished for maybe a long time, not being connected and not listening. And so that comparison is one that is one to remember as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm tired of fishing all night. I'm tired of it. I like the other one better.
Yes. Yes, I like that idea there, that it's significantly better. Yeah.
Would you tell me the passage numbers again?
John chapter 21, verses 3 and verse 6, verse 3 and verse 6. And I'm assuming that 4 and 5 had to do with Jesus coming up and them moaning about they didn't catch any fish.
What year did Neville Goddard lived? Is he still alive?
I don't think he's still alive, but I do not know that. He's relatively recent.
And what church is he with?
He's Unity, I think.
I think he passed away some time ago, actually.
Okay.
I used to follow a lot of his stuff. I think Neville Goddard. Let's see here. Dun, da, da, he died in 1972.
Okay.
Yeah. Born 1905, died in 1972.
Okay.
But he
Huh.
sure put out some profound information.
Yeah. And he's not that old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that long ago. It's still pretty
Yeah.
Yes.
current.
Yes.
I find
And-
it so interesting that people can say the same thing but in different ways.
Yes. And
yeah.
when we're in the right place, we'll hear it.
Or it
And
might be tailored for us
yes,
so that we do hear it.
exactly. But if you're not in the right place, somebody can tell you that 27 times and you won't hear it.
Exactly. Even Jesus could tell you, I mean, Jesus is talking to us God
Right.
is talking to us all the time,
Yep, we're not tuned in.
and wouldn't it be great when we're all tuned in?
Yes, it is great when we're
Wouldn't
all
that be yeah, that's a great thing to vision,
Mhm.
that when the whole world is tuned in to God and frolicking and celebrating and loving and hugging and kissing and all that.
Yep. I think it is.
Yes. Absolutely. Nice. I have a number of different Bibles, as I'm sure you guys do too. And it's always interesting to me to find a quote in the Bible and then look at it at all the different versions that I have and how it's so interpreted so differently
Mm-hmm.
with everything.
Yep. I finally have gotten rid of, I think I only have 4 or 5 Bibles now. So
Which ones did you keep, or do you have a favorite?
I don't. I have the Lamsa Bible and I have a new something or other Bible.
Oh, yes.
And then I have a more common Bible. I gave my Catholic Family Bible
Oh.
to my son when he became Catholic, but he isn't anymore. Now he's Baptist. So you know how that worked. And
Yeah.
then I want to say my second son came and was visiting. I don't remember who it was, but asked, and I gave him the Bible that was my grandmother's. She had a Schofield edition, and it was written. She had underlines and highlights and things up the margin. And maybe I gave it to my sister because she's now doing the fundamental church thing, and of course it would have been her grandmother too.
Yeah.
So I may have given it to her because she was like, okay. But it was always interesting to go and see, because you'd have about this much of the Bible, and then you'd have about this much of the notes about the Bible, and that was always fascinating because it would give you the history and about it, and then of course her highlights and her little red underlines and little marks, and some of them were in ink and some of them were in pencil. So it was a well written or well used Bible.
Yes.
So
Yes, I'm sure.
yeah, I think I gave it to my sister now that I think about it. But it's been since I've been in this house, and that makes me think that because two of my sons haven't ever been here, and the other one, the one that has, is the one that has the Catholic family Bible. So
I've said before, my grandmother was a Christian Science practitioner for years, and she always had a table in her bedroom by the big window with the Bible and the Christian Science book, and reading them together every day, and doing her work, and the red pencil to highlight and underline. And I wish I could, at the time, I wasn't involved in all of this at the time when she passed, but it would have been nice to have had those books of hers.
and
me.
I have no clue why, out of all of the kids, because my grandmother had 5 children and there were, like 15 grandchildren, I got that Bible. And I have no clue why or how it came to me, but I got it and have used it. And then, of course, as I went to ministerial school, it came in real handy to have this and notes and whatnot with it. So helpful. Truth in lots of different places shows up always. We just have to be open to see it, or open to hear it, or open to read it, to recognize it when we find it. That's what it is.
Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds easy.
Easier said than done.
Yes, so true, so true.
Cool.
Okay. Do we have any other comments that we feel like we need to make before we turn the video off?
No, I just think that was a wonderful quote and piece to read and bring for discussion. Thank you.
And wonderful food for thought.
Yeah.
I used to fish a lot with my father, and fishing is such a great analogy.
Yep.
It brings back fond memories of being outside with my dad, and just being outside and enjoying the beauty of nature. That's more important than the fish, even, of course.
Well,
Yes.
I didn't go fishing as a child. Sorry. My dad did occasionally try to take us fishing, but we were girls and that just wasn't our thing.
Yeah.
And then my first husband tried to take us fishing because we had boys. Nope. Now I'll go fishing with you, but let me bring my book so I can read while you fish, because I'm not interested in the fishing part.
Yeah.
So,
I don't physically fish anymore. Yeah.
That was just such a delicious food for thought to think about. And I am so blessed to be with 2 ministers.
well, anytime, feel
What
free.
a treat.
So we join, we do this the first, third, and fifth Thursday.
Yeah.
And the fifth is always, when there is a fifth, the fifth is always visioning. So, we get together and do that together, and different people lead it, so it comes out differently. So that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, before I turn the camera off, I will say that should somebody want to make a donation, you can do that by texting 405-337-9739. Again, that's 405-337-9739. Or you could go to inner-journey.org and donate off the website. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'm going to stop the recording.
What's your word for tonight?
Oh, I'm Grace.